Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Alicia. I post new tutorials every Thursday, primarily on tumblers, but I've done a lot of other things too. So when you're done watching this video, jump back on my channel and check out some of the other cool stuff I've done. Okay, so let's get started with this video. It is going to be 3 parts. This is going to be a tumbler tutorial, but I am adding an element of a coaster and doing the lid as well. So part 1 of this is going to be using this coaster mold, and I'm going to make a 3D burning embers coaster. So it's going to look like it's a fire pit almost. Second is going to be using this stainless steel wine tumbler, stemless, and we're going to make this look like a witch's cauldron. And then the third part of it is going to be decorating the lid. So, you know, I didn't want to put everything together because 1, it takes forever to upload on my phone to the computer. And number 2, I want you to be able to, if you know how to do a witch's cauldron but didn't know how to do the lid or the other part, you can watch them and not have to try to jump around and find and figure it out. Anyway, I just thought it would be easier to do it that way. All right, guys, so if you're interested to see what I came up with, stick around and I'm gonna go ahead and get started with part number 1. All right, so the first thing I did was made a coaster, and so I poured resin into this mold. I used a fast set of resin. You can use whatever you want. It doesn't even have to be this particular one. I recommend this size though because the wine glass that I'm using is a little bit bigger. And so I have these fairy lights that I purchased from Amazon, and they are red. And so the first thing I do is wrap them around my hand, and then I measure with the cup to see, you know, how wide I need it to be. Now I'm going to anchor the wires down, the initial wire, like the initial anchor down so that they don't move. I'm going to put some hot glue in a circle and press them down. And then once I get them pressed down like that bottom layer, I'm going to start moving the wires around so that they're kind of random, like we don't want them in a complete circle. Oh, and don't forget, I'm going to tell you that I'm going to fold this battery pack and put it underneath the coaster. So I do tack that down with hot glue because I'm going to go over that with more hot glue. And so once this is tacked down, I turn the lights on and then I start arranging it and just making them kind of random. And, you know, there's no rhyme or reason to this. Just pull them out and just move them into different places like, you know, you would see if you were looking at some burning embers or, you know, like charcoal on a grill. And you see that like redness popping through. All right, so the main ingredient in this is hot glue. And so I use this large hot glue gun that I did a tutorial on a while back. And it was something that somebody asked me to product test. It's got a little bit of a bigger tip, and that's what I want. And it also has low temp and high temp. And so I wanted to do low temp because I don't want the glue to melt together. I do want to make like glue piles, if you will. And my intention here is to completely cover the wire. So including the bulbs, everything. And I want to make sure, like I'm going to make sure that my cup fits on top of it nicely and that it's leveled too, because, you know, it can get uneven if you have too many high spots. So I go and I put this glue on. Now you're going to have to let some of it like harden and dry because the hot glue will remelt or remelt the glue that's not hot or that's cooling down. And so then it would turn into like a glue blob, which is not what you want. You want it to layer this glue on top of each other basically. So to create that effect, you have to dry in between so that the hot glue doesn't melt back down the warm glue, if that makes any sense. And so I'm just going to go back and forth around in circles. Like there is no technique. This is the first time I'm doing this. So I figured that it was kind of like when last year I did a witch's cauldron and I had this expanding foam stuff. And so when I use that on my cauldron, it just kind of comes out haphazardly and you just get it to where you want it to be, like place it all around. So that is where I got the idea to do this for a cup. I figured, you know, if I can, you know, put that on the cauldron and make it look kind of like drippy and like bubbly or whatever, then maybe I can do this. And so, you know, when you see me skip frames, it's because I've stopped and let it dry for a little bit, and you can see when the glue goes on it's pretty clear, but then when it starts to dry it's kind of this hazy color. Don't worry about that. It is okay. It's not going to not show the embers through, but again, you're going to make sure that those lights are completely covered, because after we're done with this glue and it's all dry, we're going to come in with paint. So we don't want to paint the bulbs. We want to just coat them with this glue. So it takes several times to layer this up and get it to the look I want. And then I turn it on, I put the cup on, measure for level, see if there's any other spots. I decide that I want a little bit more around the edge. I want it to go a little bit higher. Again, I'm trying to get it, you know, to look kind of like rockish or just whatever. All right, so now here it is dry. See, it's completely like this, like clearish or whatever. And so now I'm taking a light gray or a medium gray acrylic paint, and I'm just taking this soft bristle brush that I purchased at the Dollar Tree. It's a Wet n Wild brush. And I'm just pouncing on the paint. And I'm going to let this layer dry. It's very, very thin layer, guys. You don't want it too thick. See, I'm checking, making sure that it's not too thick. So you can leave your lights on while you do this. I choose to do it without, because if you don't have the lights on, I still want it to look good without the lights. So I'm going to get all around that coaster and just make sure you get in those crevices, because there are crevices in there and on the side from the glue and from the layering. And then once I get this to the look that I want, I actually take it upstairs and put a hairdryer on it to like quick dry it, so that I can get in with my second layer of gray. And I dried all of my acrylic after I got done putting it on with the hairdryer, just to speed this process up. But don't, make sure it's not too hot. Like put it on like cool, because if you don't, you might melt that glue again. All right, so I've got my 2 layers of gray on, and now I'm going to come in with my black, and I'm going to pounce around. I do not want to completely cover this gray up. I want to put a lot of black on there, but I want that gray peeking through too. And again, make sure that you're testing when you're doing this, that you can see them through. So now you can really see, look at that. Like, how awesome is that? I was so happy when I turned that light on. I was like, oh yes. All right, so I'm going to give it a spray of matte clear. Then what I forgot to tell you about, oh, there it is. I sprinkle some fresh snow on top, just a little bit, just to give it some sparkle. And this fresh snow is awesome, because you're gonna get a green sparkle and an orange type sparkle. And then I'm gonna seal it again with matte clear. All right, and now I'm gonna mount the battery pack underneath. Yeah, so I use this lid from a gravy jar. And I am going to glue this underneath the coaster, and then I am going to put that in there. I'm going to take so normally I would have done something that would break away, like a Velcro tab, but I didn't have any. So I just put this mounting square in there. So I recommend you use something where you can pull it off, because you can change the batteries in these. All right, and then you turn it on, and that is it, guys. This is done. Like, how cool and easy is this? I absolutely love this. All right, and so then just the very last thing I'm going to do is just paint around that lid black. And then that's it. Then it's completely done, and we're ready to move on to working on that cup. All right, guys, so this coaster is done, and I'm absolutely in love with how it turned out. This is so cool. It really does look like burning embers. And so how fun is this? I think it's absolutely fun. Tell me what you think. So we're going to use this to put our witch's cauldron on, and we're going to light it up, and it's going to be a totally cool Halloween decoration. And here's the bottom so that you can get to your batteries, because these are battery operated lights. All right, guys, so thank you all for watching. Stick around for part 2, or sorry, go ahead and jump to part 2, which is going to be the cauldron out of this. Make sure you give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Subscribe, share, comment. I love to hear your feedback. All that stuff helps my channel to grow. Don't forget to check out my Facebook group, It's a Craft Thing, as well as my Instagram. Yes, that's it. I do have a few on TikTok, but those are some of the things that I post that I don't do tutorials on. Don't forget to check out Glitter Makes Its Superstars group on Sundays. They have free giveaways, so check that out and post some of the things that you make using Glitter Makes Its glitter. discount code in the description box below, where I have everything listed and linked. All right, guys, that's enough for this. I will see you in the next video.